a lot of natural resources that can, you know, sustain us. No, it's not. But it's as a result of mismanagement. It's as a result of leadership quagmire. Okay, and so when we begin to hear about the issue of food insecurity, you know, to a high rate, you begin to think about unemployment rate. I mean, someone who is not working, how would the person be talking about eating? Before you start talking about it to eat, at least your hands have to be on plow. All right? And so when we talk about Nigerians who have lost their jobs in the recent time as a result of, you know, wrong policies or harsh policies of the government, you know about a lot of blue chip companies that left Nigeria in the recent time, right? It is people who were working in those areas that lost their jobs. Well, at first, I even disagree with the figure that they gave to us. I think that they underfigured us. We are more than 24 million people who are suffering from acute food insecurity in Nigeria. All right, so I think they are just trying to make use of maybe pilot working, you know, to give us some figures. Go out there and see that people are suffering in abject poverty. People are suffering, people don't have anything to eat. How many persons are going to the farms now and again? When you talk about that the food is there and it is as a result of the money with which to buy, it's not true. It's not entirely true. The truth is that the food is not there. I mean, the product itself, they are not there. Then you start talking about the inflation that have eaten down the values of the currency we are making use of in Nigeria locally here. Then you begin to now ask of maybe question the purchasing power of the currency. All right. But one factor you talk about first, or you look at first, is insecurity. People can no longer go to their farms. Kidnappers have taken over the farms. Bandits have taken over the farms. The armed bandits have taken over the farms. They kill people for rituals, kill people to sell them in parts. They have taken over the entire farms. A lot of sects are recruiting themselves on a daily basis in Nigeria. I hope you are aware that including immigration, Nigerian Immigration Service gave out a circular that was some days ago. They publicized the circular some days ago, you know, announcing the presence of another sect in Nigeria that have entered Nigeria just as we're talking now. So for goodness sake, mind you, these guys are not operating in the air. They're operating in our bushes within our neighborhood. And they are part of the reasons why we are no longer going to the farms. So who did not go to the farm? Where do you now produce this food that we're talking about? Is it not in the farm? Then we begin to talk about the value of our naira. The value of our naira have made a mess of whatever you have at your hand, you know, when you talk about currency. I mean, inflation have killed our currency. And so we begin to talk about, okay, you now have maybe a bag of rice. Then we begin to talk of how many times or how many months are you going to be able to generate the money you used to buy a bag of rice in Nigeria today. Then that's where you now start talking about a factor called that the food is there, but the money to go and buy is not there. The money is there actually, but the money does not have value. Then what did you do as well to be able to have access to the money? It's another factor. There are no jobs for you to do. Then when you even have the money does not have purchasing power. Then when you have the money, you did not see the food to buy because nobody cultivated.
Well, that's what the conversation we had on Wednesday last week. And moving on Thursday, I was opportunity to play host to Emeka Odom, who is a tourism consultant, a journalist, and public affairs analyst. And we discussed the emergence of Enugu, and by extension the Southeast, as the new tourism destination. Now, let's see excerpts from that particular session.
It's not because you go to a place and you eat. Of course, you eat in your house. It's not because you go to a place and sleep. You sleep in your house. You watch television in your house. But have you feel that emotional connection with the things you have heard about this place. So, when you come to Enugu, where is the presidential hotel of old that we had in those days? You read history, you say, oh, you read account of things that happened. And somebody said, when I got to Enugu, I was at the presidential hotel. And now you have opportunity to come to Enugu many years after. Where is the presidential hotel? You can't see it. It's now a relics. But bringing that hotel back to life is something that is commendable. Now, go beyond that. Like I always say, when you come to, you see, if you want Enugu to be a major player, we all admire Lagos today for what Lagos is. Lagos, look at the budget of Lagos. What does it tell you? How much? how many states in Nigeria, if you put like 5 states together, their budget is not up to half of what Lagos, read as their budget. Why is Lagos playing at that level? Because of the presence of infrastructures and industry, so it attracts so many people. I can tell you, people will give the argument that Lagos was capital of Nigeria. Yes, Lagos was capital, but it is not well managed. If things are not more and more, the governor of Lagos is developing more and more things. Look at the Blue Rail, look at the Atlantic City. These things came after Lagos, after the capital city had moved away from Lagos. Somebody was advertising a ferry service of relatively comfort and luxury. So it goes from Lagos to Onitsha. I don't know how true that is. I've not had it any other place else. But before now, if that is correct, then it's a good innovation. How come you can't travel from here to Onitsha? I mean, you can't travel from Lagos to Onitsha by sea. Does it mean there's no water connection? There are. But these things have not been developed. Because somebody developed air transport, and that's all of us are looking at that way. Somebody developed road transport, and all of us are looking at that way. So there's a whole lot, and in fact, if I have opportunity to stand stand before his revered presence, the governor of Enugu State, I will really recommend him and offer suggestions. Say, look, please, Your Excellency, please move further. You see, Enugu is not an oil-producing state, so it is good that maybe tomorrow they may discover oil, but for now, it's not classified as an oil-producing state. So and it's not as if Enugu is known for its mechanized agriculture. No, Enugu is not such a very highly industrialized. If you talk about 5 states in Nigeria that where we have the presence of a real thriving industrial complex industrial estate, I don't think you probably mention Enugu State. So it is important that they look inwards and ask themselves, look, do a SWOT analysis. Where does our strengths and opportunities lie? For me, the tourism industry is there. It's a low-hanging fruit. Within a very short time, with a very conscious, and well-planned investment, it will begin to yield fruits. Take advantage of MICE. Meetings, incentives, conferences, and events. These are things that can... Look, I'm happy that Enugu has signed into hosting the 2026 National Sports Festival. Right. That's a huge one, locally. And immediately after that, they should strive for further. These are things that will drive that will showcase the state and tell other people. For each event you host that is out there, a lot of people will know that, yes, things have changed in this place. We can now watch it with the International Conference Center. I can tell you that not long from now, the bar conference will hold in Enugu here. Just watch out. Because I know it will happen, because, you can't hide these things. These are things that will bring in an influx of people here. Within the 2 or 3 days they will be here. They will spend their money. The airport will boom. The local transport will boom. The hotels will boom. So, beautify the roads. Smoothen the roads. Light up the city at night. If you know those things that, made Enugu what it was in those days, try and the positive ones, try and bring them back. That is how to sell the city.
Enugu is on the right track.
Yes, Enugu is very much on the right. But my fear is this, and my fear is this, because see, the sustainability is an issue, both in Nigeria and in tourism. It's an issue in Nigeria because over time we have seen situations where leaders come and abandon what their predecessors left behind, or what they started, and start a new course, just because they don't want to give credit to say, oh well, it was this man. Because when you commission a project you didn't finish, history will always beckon on the man who started it.
These conversations are live right at the moment, as it were, on our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel. You will want to go there at www.youtube.com/@Afia Business. And while you're there, do hit the like button. Remember, you should subscribe so you get notifications, and turn on the notification bell as well, so you get notified on when we drop off new content on the YouTube page. And just so you know, we'll take a break here. When we return, more of those conversations we had in the last week. Please stay. Welcome back to the Eastern Business Report, live from Enugu State, Nigeria. And before the break, I was sharing with you conversations that we had in the last week. And I highlighted that on Wednesday, I was excited to play host to Emmanuel Chime, who is a property consultant and public affairs analyst. And we looked at issues around Nigeria being forced into survival mode at hard times, persistent food inflation worsened. And then on Thursday, I played host to Emeka Odome, tourist consultant, journalist, and a public affairs analyst, and we discussed the emergence of Enugu State and by extension the Southeast region as a new tourism destination. And then moving on Friday, I was ecstatic as I played host to Paul Wanibe, founder and CEO, Landmark Africa Group, and we took out the time to look at the hospitality sector and industry in Enugu State with emphasis on the landmark effect. Let's see excerpts from that particular session.
So I judge tourism potential on a number of things. So let me perhaps highlight the first three. The first is the enabling environment provided by the government, and I am absolutely convinced that His Excellency Dr. Peter Mba is obsessed with creating a tourism platform. I know how long it took to do this and the sort of questions that were asked. So I know that that's serious. So the enabling environment is one thing. The second thing about tourism is just the logistics, the reach. It's whatever you do, you need to put it in a place that is safe, so from a security perspective, looks beautiful, and has access to several regions. So Enugu ticks those three boxes. And the third thing is the actual site you do it on. Nike Lake was chosen for obvious reasons, not just because it's idyllic and historic, but it just offers an immense potential to do so many things in one place and provide this little platform that we used to provide to create a business, leisure, and lifestyle destination. So under the sort of public-private sector partnership, we've taken on a long-term lease at what effectively is a commercial rate. So we're paying for that, but it's long enough for us to make an incredibly large investment to not only curate what we want to do, but also revamp, rebuild, build new things, provide new adventures, and operate it. At the end of the lease, we return it to the state government in a thriving and viable state.
Okay.
But the lease is many decades, so it gives us the chance to invest real resources into it. We describe ourselves as a platform developer. So we are a business, leisure, and lifestyle developer. So what we try to do, we try to develop platforms as destinations. So people can come. Landmark has literally a simple strategy. Bring as many people in as possible. Give them some amazing experiences. Make sure they have a really great time and tell other people about us. So our currency is people, what's traditionally called footfall. The more people who come here and the longer they stay in any landmark location, the more successful we are. A mixture of commercial and emotional decisions. So commercially, Enugu doesn't need to be introduced to anyone, right? It was more or less the capital of the Eastern region. I went. It was the capital of the Eastern region. It's got lovely terrain. I've gone on record saying that Frederick Forsyth described it as the most beautiful city on earth. Just so those that don't know, Enugu is incredibly attractive, not just locally, regionally, but also internationally. And its location and number of people, it just has under 5 million people as a state, as a city, just under 1 million people. It's got good network, and the governance there is strong. And the city and the government are very, very, very obsessed with creating an enabling environment for businesses and a tourism platform. So that's the commercial reason. The emotional reason are two things. I went to university in Enugu. I went to University of Nigeria, Enugu campus, and Nike Lake was just starting when I was leaving university. And at the time, I felt it was probably the best holiday resort in West Africa, if not further in the region. Secondly, I married my wife from Enugu. So Enugu is a place that's very dear to my heart too, for both those reasons. So we look at impact in number of visitors, number of people employed, number of new businesses created, and the impact on the supply chain. So let me answer straightforward your question, and I'll use a little bit of an analogy. So in Lagos, we created about 4,000 jobs directly, and indirectly, probably about 16 to 20,000. In Enugu, we expect to create something in the region of 5,000 jobs directly, about 4 times that indirectly. But most importantly, from a supply chain basis, we expect to create probably between 150 to 200,000 jobs locally in the supply chain. We believe, we're obsessed with trying to create impact, by the way, because we feel the bigger the impact, the more successful we will be. So 80% of the jobs and the SMEs will be locally sourced. So the second aspect of people and jobs is SMEs. So as we probably know that small, medium enterprises are the drivers of any economy. The more they are and the more successful they are, the more that local economy succeeds. Because of the nature of what we do and how we provide the platform for SMEs to trade at their very best, we're almost like an SME incubator and aggregator. So in Lagos, we created 150 SMEs per year over that period. And some of these businesses that started with nothing, someone doing ice cream for the kids. So because of the footfall element, so we believe Enugu, especially Nike Lake Resort, as a destination, and with the things we intend to do there, we believe we'll create upwards of 5,000 jobs directly, and we will create at least between 150 to 200 small and medium-sized enterprises, which will employ their own people, which is why I feel indirectly we'll create over 20,000 jobs. The supply chain, whether it's people for every piece of chicken that's bought, every Coca-Cola that's drank, every ice that's used, every cup that's used, is a local supply chain. And we believe many multiples of jobs will be created through that supply chain as well.
Well, I would advise or recommend that you visit our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel to see full episodes of these conversations displayed right here on your screen at www.youtube.com/Afia Business. Remember, you should turn on notifications so you get notified on every time we put up a content there on the YouTube business channel. Coming up next will be Oye Afia. Thank you for your time once, twice, and a million more times. My name is Ubong Kings. Good morning.
Good evening to you, viewer, and welcome to Women in Business, a show that profiles women, executives, and even the next door store owners, showcasing Igbo greatness to the world.
I started always obsessed with books ever since I was a child.
The stress of always converting naira to dollar and
an incompetent means an incompetent person.